Hey, so today we're going to be taking you through an exercise that should be in most programs, but again, if we're looking for technique advice from things like YouTube and Google, there's a little bit of an extra layer of knowledge that you need to know to be able to get these things set up properly. Now, if you lack a little bit of confidence to get into the gym and do things like this, it also really helps to explain the setup and what you might encounter when you actually get into the gym. You find that this exercise is on your program, and for you to be able to get it put in and use it effectively, you need to know a little bit more in terms of what to expect. Now, what I want you to imagine, we're going to be going through a dumbbell seated shoulder press. You see it on your program. You know roughly what you're supposed to be doing. The gym's busy. It doesn't really matter where you do this exercise, but I'm going to give you an example of the gym that I go to. There's about 10 benches in a row with a dumbbell rack just in front of it. That's the ideal place that you would do this because you'd have a bench that a bench a little bit like this one, where you can change the angle of the seat at the front. You can change the angle of the seat at the back. Now, this guy here, he's got one of those benches, but he's got his set up at a 45-degree angle, kind of like this. Now, when you do this exercise, I want it to be a little bit more upright because when you have it at this angle, instead of focusing on the shoulder as a whole, you end up focusing on the front of the shoulder and a little bit through the front of your chest. And ultimately, you want to clearly define between a chest exercise and a shoulder exercise. So like I said, I want that bench a little bit more like a right angle. It may well put your mobility under a little bit more pressure, but that's okay. So let's just watch him get set up so that he's ready to get this exercise done. This video, by the way, is taken directly from my training app called Trainerize, which is what I use with my clients. So ultimately, if that was a training video that someone was sending through to me, I'd be pretty happy with that movement. Now, a couple of things that I would change. Firstly, the angle of the bench. But if you look here, let me see if I can get it into the right place. There we go. So let's pause it in the right place. There you go. So that position just there is absolutely spot on. With the angle of the bench currently, he's finding it really easy to lock those arms out above his head. If you've got it more at a right angle, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but you're still going to be able to do it. But in terms of movement, really happy with the position his elbows end up in. I'd maybe like to see him come a little bit lower and bring the shoulders just so they touch the top of the shoulder. But ultimately, that's pretty good. Now, I said to you about giving you a little bit of an extra layer of knowledge. That gym's going to be busy, and for you to get this exercise set up is going to be pretty difficult, especially if your confidence is a little bit low. So what you need is a bench and a set of dumbbells, and that's pretty much it. Once you've got your bench set up, that's your little area of personal space, and you'll be absolutely fine. Now, what I want you to think about is, let's say it's too busy, you can't actually get there. You would be absolutely fine to substitute this exercise with something like a standing barbell press or standing dumbbell press. You could do, if there wasn't enough dumbbells, you could do a half kneeling dumbbell press. Same with home workouts, you can substitute this exercise for those things, but so long as you've got space to do it, you've got the right equipment, you can absolutely get the most out of this exercise. Just one more little point to add. If he was doing this sort of side on, I'd really like to see that lower back staying nice and flat against the bench. Hope this helps. Speak to you guys soon.